What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and we're hearing that Congress is turning their attention back towards the Build Back Better stimulus reconciliation bill, and Bernie Sanders yesterday had a lot to say about it, and he was not happy. You guys, this is your Build Back Better and stimulus check update. Now, also wanted to mention very quickly that the new video is up on the second channel, Steve Ram Finance. Now, I've released two videos on there. If you have missed them, check it out. The first one I cover some advice I received years ago from a multi-millionaire who shared with me the secret to financial freedom. He told me to focus on three things. I listened to him, did what he said, and it worked. So, also just released a second video on a way that a lot of investors are making tons of money with very little effort, and that is through the metaverse. And I share with you buying virtual real estate, NFTs, and if that doesn't interest you, some of the companies that you might be interested in buying some stocks or cryptos with through the metaverse if you believe it's going to go up. So I hope those videos are a blessing to you. If you're interested, check them out. I'll pin a comment down below. Click the link. You can go subscribe and check out those videos. But right now, let's get you caught up on economic news and stimulus. So yesterday, Senator Bernie Sanders had an interview and he was not happy. I'm going to be sharing it with you in this video right now so you can see it for yourself. Now, one of the first things was, if you missed President Joe Biden's interview last week, he did a 2-hour-long press briefing, and in there he was asked, "Why are you trying to take the country so far left?" And he responded by saying, I'm not a socialist. I'm not Bernie Sanders," calling him out by name. And you guys, in here, Bernie Sanders addresses that comment. Now, in addition to that, they're going to be discussing the future of the Build Back Better stimulus reconciliation bill and voting rights. And Bernie Sanders calls out Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, and he vocalizes very clearly his disapproval as, take a look at this, you guys. It's good that Arizona Democrats censured Sinema, Sanders said on Meet the Press yesterday. And also, take a look at this. Bernie Sanders is mad as HE double hockey sticks at Sinema and Manchin's sabotage of Biden's agenda. And yes, he uses the word sabotage, saying, listen, get them out of here. I'll support challengers because they are not supporting the Democratic agenda. They're not true Democrats. They're not for us. Get them out. We're trying to help the people, do stimulus, do all these things, and they're blocking it. So, wow. I'm going to be sharing with you the actual video footage right now. Let's watch it together so you can see it for yourself, you guys. But before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Just takes a second. Really helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave your comments down below. Share this out. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, totally free to do so. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. And if you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this video footage that just came out of all the thoughts from Bernie Sanders on everything going on right now with stimulus.
President Biden singled you out at his press conference this week when he was asked if he was governing too far to the left. Take a listen.
You guys have been trying to convince me that I am Bernie Sanders. I'm not. I like him, but I'm not Bernie Sanders. I'm not a socialist. I'm a mainstream Democrat, and I have been.
What was your reaction when you heard that?
Well, I'm not Joe Biden. I like him, but I'm not Joe Biden. I'm a progressive who believes that the Democratic Party should make it clear that we are prepared to take on powerful special interests like the drug companies, like the insurance companies, like the fossil fuel industry, that we have to demand that the wealthy start paying their fair share of taxes. So look, I think President Biden has done something quite unusual. He has taken a hard look at the problems facing the American people. He's brought forth legislation to try to address that. And I respect that. But obviously, we have our strong differences.
And what do you say to those who say that part of the reason why that you're stuck, as you just described, in process and policy is because Joe Biden is governing more like Bernie Sanders than Joe Biden, and that's not what the American people asked for?
Well, I would turn that around and say, how does it happen that the policies we are now fighting for are enormously popular? You know, CNN did some polling out there. Ask whether the American people think it's time to take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry. Ask whether we should be dealing with the existential threat of climate. Should we be building affordable housing? Should we be dealing with child care crisis? And the American people say, yeah, it's about time you did it. We're seeing the very richest people in this country, Dana, becoming incredibly richer during this pandemic, while tens of millions of American workers are struggling to make ends meet. The American people want us to have the courage to stand up to powerful special interest.
Senator,
that's what they want, and that's what we've got to do.
Here we are 1 year into the Biden presidency. Those two key priorities are stalled in the Senate, the social spending bill and climate bill, the election reform legislation. It's because Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema won't get on board. How frustrated are you?
Well, it's not only those two, it is 50 Republicans who have been adamant not only in pushing an anti-democratic agenda, but also opposing our efforts to try to lower the cost of prescription drugs, trying to expand Medicare to include dental, hearing, and eyeglasses, to improve the disastrous situation in home health care, in child care, to address the existential threat of climate change. You got 50 Republicans who don't want to do anything except criticize the president. And then you have, sadly enough, 2 Democrats who choose to work with the Republicans rather than the president, and who have sabotaged the president's effort to address the needs of working families in this country. Is it frustrating? It sure is. But my view, Dana, is we need a new direction, a new approach in the Senate. I think after 6 months of negotiating, so-called negotiating behind closed doors with Senators Manchin and Senator Sinema, we need to start voting. We need to bring important pieces of legislation that impact the lives of working families right onto the floor of the Senate. And if the Republicans want to vote against lowering the cost of prescription drugs, climate change, home health care, whatever it may be, and if the Democrats, 2 Democrats want to join them, let the American people see what's happening. Then we can pick up the pieces and pass legislation.
So I want to get
but the current course of action, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to get to more of that and really drill down on what you mean by that in 1 second. But while we're talking about the 2 senators, the 2 Democratic senators, you saw, I'm sure, that the Arizona Democratic Party censured Senator Sinema. Was that appropriate?
Absolutely it was. On that particular vote that she and Manchin cast, we were trying to address the reality that you got 19 Republican states all over this country who are undermining the foundations of American democracy, trying to make it harder for people of color, young people, people with disabilities to vote, coming up with extreme gerrymandering, taking action against independent election officials. And it is so important that we protect American democracy, that we stand up to the big lie of Trump and his allies that he really won the election. And they undermined that effort. I think what the Arizona Democrats did was exactly right.
Would you be willing to campaign against either Senator Sinema and or Senator Manchin in a Democratic primary?
Well, that's a long way coming. They're not up until 2024. But if there were strong candidates in those states who were prepared to stand up for working families, who understand that the Democratic Party has got to be the party of working people taking on big money interests, if those candidates were there in Arizona and West Virginia, yes, I would be happy to support them.
Okay, let's go back to the notion of how you're going to do what President Biden talked about, passing what he called big chunks of the social spending and climate plan. You say you want every senator to vote. Can you specifically talk about how you're going to, or you want to go about doing that? How can you get these things, not just to have political votes to show that Republicans are against it, but more importantly, how can you pass at least the bare minimum of what you think you can?
Well, I think Donna, what's most important is that the ideas that we are fighting for are enormously popular, 70, 80% of the American people want us to Medicare to negotiate prescription drug costs. People want to expand Medicare. People want to deal with the crisis of climate. So what we are talking about is what the American people want. And I think when you bring bills on the floor, we have allowed the Republicans to get away with murder. They haven't had to vote on anything. Now, if they want to vote against lowering the cost of prescription drugs, expanding Medicare, dealing with child care, dealing with housing, let them vote. And let Manchin and Sinema decide which side they are on. And when all of that shakes out, we'll see where we are. I have the feeling that we will be able to get 50 votes or more on some of these issues. We can put that piece together and then pass something that's very significant.
So if I'm understanding you right, you're saying put all of these policy initiatives on the Senate floor, let them get a vote, and let's be honest, they'll probably fail. And then once that happens, you'll craft legislation that can actually pass on specific parts of the Democratic agenda that have enough support?
Once that happens, Dana, we will know where we stand. I am not quite so sure that you're not going to get at least 50 votes to lower the cost of prescription drugs or to expand Medicaid or deal with climate. Mm-hmm. But once we know where people are at, then we can say, all right, look, we got 50 votes here, we got 51 votes here, 49 votes here. Let's do it. But what has bothered me very much is the Republicans are laughing all the way to Election Day. They have not had to cast one bloody vote which shows us where they're at. And we've got to change that.
Is Senator Schumer, the majority leader, on board with this strategy that you're describing today?
Well, this is a discussion that we're going to have not only with Senator Schumer, but with the entire Democratic caucus. I think there is widespread understanding that what we have done for the last 6 months has failed from a policy point of view. It has failed politically. We need to change course. We need to have the courage to take on the Republicans and let Manchin and Sinema decide which side they are on.
I want you to listen to something that you told me on the show just after Democrats took unified control of government just about a year ago.
If Democrats who have slim majorities in the House and the Senate, we got President Biden in the White House. If we do not respond now, yes, I believe 2 years from now, the Republicans will say, hey, you elected these guys. They did nothing. Vote for us, and they will win.
So given where you are now, have Democrats delivered enough to win control in November?
Well, we have done, remember, we're taking on the incredible obstructionism of 50 Republicans who have turned their backs on working families in this country. And we have 2 Democrats who have sabotaged the president's agenda. But we did pass the American Rescue Plan, which was one of the most consequential pieces of legislation in the modern history of this country, got money into the hands of working families, cut childhood poverty by 40%, gave money to hospitals and medical centers all over this country, and helped us stabilize the economy. We also passed an infrastructure bill, the most significant piece of infrastructure bill since Dwight D. Eisenhower in the 1950s. So we are making some progress, but clearly we have been stalled by the sabotage, if you like, of 2 Democrats who have refused to support what the president and 48 of us want to do.
Wow, so there you have it, you guys. A lot of good content there, and you heard at the end them saying, listen, have Democrats done enough to hold on to control as we enter into the midterm elections this year? And we heard Bernie Sanders say that they've done a lot of stuff, but keep in mind, he said, that we've been sabotaged by 2 of our own and Republicans. So in the eyes of America, we will see. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. But also, we heard him respond to what the path forward should be. He said, it's time for change. He said, we've been doing the same thing for 6 months and we haven't got results. It's time, he said, that we all discuss amongst the Democratic Party and see what we can do to change things to get stuff done. Now, you guys, we're probably going to be hearing a whole lot about it this week. I will keep you up to date as they're turning their attention back towards stimulus reconciliation, a new revised Build Back Better bill. And like I said, I'll keep you up to date on all the details here on the channel. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second to smash that like button. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, totally free. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Consider joining the second channel, Steve Ram Finance. I will pin a comment down below. Click the link, go subscribe, turn on notifications, check out those first 2 videos. And you guys, if you got any specific questions for me, I'm easy to get a hold of directly. Just hop onto Instagram and shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, hope this reaches you well. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.